Thanks again to Joa for sponsoring Whole Mars this week. I just bought this air compressor from them. I've been having tons of issues with flat tires, so this is definitely something I want to keep in my car. The one I bought from Tesla totally sucked compared to this. So this you can charge with USB-C instead of the car outlet, so I went ahead and got one of those. I also love this USB hub for the Model 3 and Y. So it's got a USB-C port and some USB-A ports, really easy to access, so you can charge your phone or anything else without having to dig in there and plug in the cable. Use the code HOMEMARS for 5% off your order. All right, hey everybody. I'm here with my dad, and we're gonna go for a drive on Tesla Full Self-Driving Beta 12.2.1. We have to go into Los Angeles, and it's about a 71-minute drive. So this is going to be a pretty long drive, some city streets, some highway, some urban driving. So let's see how it does. And this is your first time with this latest FSD beta build, right?
Yes. This is my first time, yes.
Yeah, it's been much more slow and hesitant compared to the last FSD beta 12 build.
So it kind of started, then it stopped.
Yeah.
It's not sure whether it needs to go or stop. It's kind of confused. I can see the brake pedal being pressed.
Yeah.
And so, hey, nice.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
I think it was probably trying to digest the route and see, okay, where am I going? Let me just figure out. Oh,
I don't know. I was thinking it was maybe the pedestrian or something.
yeah, maybe it was waiting for a gap with the pedestrian, a safe gap.
Yeah, but, that was obviously just too long.
Yeah. I noticed that here on this turn now, it's much slower, right? Compared to previous release would do around 25 miles per hour. Now
The
it's
first
down to
FSD beta 12?
No, I'm talking about like even 11.
Yeah.
Mine does around 25, and now this one slows down to 20. So a lot more cautious, and safer driving. So let's see how it does on the door. Last time it did okay on the door, so let's hope it actually pulls forward to the door and understands. There you go. It's waiting for the door to open. Beautiful. More like human this time. Last time it kind of goes.
And it doesn't wait for the gate to 100% stop before moving.
Correct.
It goes when it has space.
Yeah.
That's another big improvement.
Yeah. And it's open enough to be able to do that. Okay. So it's going to make a right turn here, looks like.
No, I think it wants to make a left. I don't know why the right blinker's on. It's a little odd.
Yeah. So the right blinker is on, but he wants to make a left.
Yeah.
Oh, the right blinker was on because we were coming out of the door and at the gate, and then there was a little right turn there.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not going. I'm just going to push the accelerator.
Good idea. Because you're not going to get an opening like this on this road. It gets pretty busy. So, two cautious things.
Overly cautious.
Overly cautious, which I think
Maybe try wiping the windshield.
Which they will probably clear it out with time.
Yeah, it's been really annoying because the first build was so good. It struck such a good balance. So, other people who are getting 12 for the first time are like, oh, wow, this is great. But they didn't even see what the first build was like. I think it's almost like they wanted to show me what the model could really do before they took it to a wider release, and they kind of dialed it back just to be cautious.
Of course.
Because this, it can kind of do some unexpected things more than 11. So I think they just want to be really extra cautious with it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, once they feel confident and kind of turn down those margins, we've seen what it's capable of in the other version.
Yeah, but every time you do these iterations and you increase your testers group size, you have to tone down and take less risks and be more cautious until you build confidence with that group, and then you keep releasing more features or relaxing the strictness a little bit. So I don't blame them. I think Better safe than sorry.
Right.
So this is perfect. It decided to go, even though there
And
were
then it
cars
kind of
coming.
slowed a little when it saw that car
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, it was just wanted to make sure that guy is not going to come into our path, which he didn't. So, um, so much better, smoother drive on this curve, 37, 39. Although the speed limit is
45.
45.
Yeah, it goes below the speed limit. It needs to be going over the speed limit.
Well, I think it's the curvature of the road that it's deciding based on smoother braking. Nice.
Yeah, really smooth stop. Like like I don't think a human could have stopped like that. You didn't even feel that little jolt at the end.
Correct.
That was kind of incredible. Look, it got stuck at the green light.
You had to
Press the accelerator, yeah.
That's interesting. Is anybody else reporting that? Or because I haven't seen people reporting that. Maybe it's today's.
No, I've
here
seen it
it's
happen
5.
a couple times at that stoplight.
Oh, at that stoplight. Okay.
Yeah.
So now
This
it's
build has
speeding
been
up to
kind of a
44,
disappointment.
45. That's pretty good. Now it's at the speed limit.
Yeah, now it's doing good.
Yeah.
Slowing down for that thing in the road, which before it would just
Never
drive
do,
fast
yeah.
over it and it was pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the sign in here for the 25 miles. Let's see. Last time it ignored it.
No, it didn't. It's been, yeah, it turned it down. Okay, now. It saw the other 45. So it read the 25, but then it saw the 45. But then this one, it's going to see the 25 again. And then it'll go down to 38.
Let's see. It's driving at 54, which is above the speed limit. Saw the 25.
Yeah, now it thinks the speed limit's 25. So annoying.
So what are you gonna do?
What do you mean, what am I going to do?
Like, do you have an override?
No.
So the auto speed is the only option, or is that the option you chose?
I can turn auto speed off.
Okay, okay.
Now we just have to go 38.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll eventually catch up, that another sign. But that's interesting that that sign didn't have a 45 next to it.
Yeah, it's
Normally.
just kind of disappointing that, it's been like over 3 years and they haven't been able to fix this truck issue.
Honestly, it's a low priority. I wouldn't lose my sleep over that one.
But every time we go anywhere, we have to deal with it.
True for us.
Yeah.
But for majority of the people, it's not an issue. 99.9999% of the people don't even have that issue. So hesitation at the intersection, even though we had a green light. So interesting that it doesn't necessarily consider green light a pass to go anymore.
Well,
Like,
it always hasn't. It's always looking for other stuff too.
on 11, it just goes through.
Yeah, I know. It'll go through, but if there is somebody in the intersection, it won't go through.
Correct. No. I mean, like, there was a guy probably trying to make a right turn or something. So on 11, it doesn't stop for those guys, but here it was trying to watch the intentions of that driver.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Actually, pretty smooth.
It's
Yeah.
smooth, but there's just too much hesitation and slowness.
I think so far minor. Let's see. We have a long drive. Let's see how it performs overall. I mean, I think the key is how will a passenger feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
it's not about how you feel or how I feel, because you've been doing this forever and testing it in different releases. So
Oh
you
no,
are.
look at this. They have another truck speed limit 25, and there used to be trees covering it. Now they've cut down the trees. At least it was working before when they didn't cut down the trees. And once you pass this 25 sign and it reads it, there's no speed limit sign for miles. And you're just stuck going 25. It's really...
I think once you cross PCH, the other side of the Crenshaw is 45 or 50, so it knows that somehow it adjusts it automatically.
I think it might be faster to get the city to change the sign than to get them to fix it. But seriously, like, cities need to start being aware of these things. More cars are going to be driving.
But is this street 25 miles per hour?
No, it says truck, but look at how faded.
Where does this?
It says truck above it. It's really
that
faded.
tiny truck thing.
Yeah. See, now it thinks it's 25.
Yeah.
The cities need to be aware that there are going to be cars driving and make sure their signs are, not going to confuse them.
I think these signs are controlled by Caltrans, but we can definitely take a picture off of the Google Street and send it to the city maintenance team. They're usually pretty good.
Well, what do they care?
No,
That's not their problem.
I can write to them. We can say, look, we're testing the full self-driving. It lowers the speed because you have a wrong. You don't have the truck is not, following the standards. The word truck, it should be placed this way. So there's a Caltrans standard that they have to follow.
Yeah, I mean, it could cause an accident if somebody's going 50 and then suddenly they slow down to 25 or something like that.
I think once it crosses, it'll increase the speed, or somehow it gets that from the highway.
Well, luckily, one good thing about 12 with the auto speed is that even if it sees the speed as 25, it can go up to 38, provided the road looks okay to drive at that speed.
Correct. Oh, see, it went to 45.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. That somehow it figures that out, that this is a 45 miles per hour road, even though there was no sign. So where does it pull that data from?
The map, maybe?
Yeah, probably. So the fix might be for it to say, okay, if there's a conflict between the map and the street sign, maybe use the map. Looks like map is more accurate.
Well, it's always better to go better off visual indicators rather than the map. Map can get out of date. Visual is always up to date.
But in the absence of a sign, like we
But
had
there wasn't
here,
an absence of a sign. From its perspective, it saw a sign. And it said 25.
No, I'm talking about here. 45. It didn't see the 45 sign.
Well, maybe there was a sign and we just didn't see it.
I doubt it. Maybe like this one's hidden behind the pole.
Yeah, this is the other stupid thing. Whenever I always have this issue, and then I get stuck with the 25, and then it doesn't see this 45 because it's behind a pole. I'm like,
the pole just got installed. It wasn't.
I know. I'm like, man, these guys are killing me. Put the sign in front of the pole.
Yeah.
The real world is really challenging. It doesn't look nice like, a simulation or anything like that. People do all kinds of stupid things in the real world.
So far, so good. I'm liking it.
I mean, compared to 11, it's good. But it's just a little bit disappointing going back to slower, more cautious, more jittery version.
Is this the one they're releasing to everyone?
Yeah, I mean, a small number of people have it, less than 1% of the fleet. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to see where the sync button is on the temperature.
You just have to push the up arrow or down arrow.
See, it's
Yeah.
still
Push
synced.
split. Push split.
Oh, there you go. Okay, got it. Okay. So let's say at some point in time, more than 50% of the cars are self-driving, right?
Mhm.
5 years from now, 3 years from now, it doesn't matter. I think that will require all the cities and federal agencies to revisit the roads and the road signs, right?
Yeah.
Because now majority or a significant number of people are in these self-driving cars
Yeah.
who can get confused by a sign that's hidden behind a pole, or
Right.
is wrong, the truck is not written clearly. So that is something that will happen as an infrastructure improvement.
Yeah, it needs to start happening now. People need to start thinking about it whenever they put up any signage or traffic lights or anything. It needs to be crystal clear and easy for a computer to understand.
Ideally, what would be good is if there was no need for signs, because computers are driving and they would get the data digitally on every street. What the conditions of the street are, something in real time, that would be provided by Caltrans or somebody else. Just like we get
Well, the
real-time.
car should be able to collect that data themselves.
Correct. And yeah, from other cars, but I'm talking about what is today's speed limit, because what happens is, in cold places, even though it might be a 45 mile per hour street, but on an icy day they want you to drive at 20 miles per hour, right? So I see future signs to be digital, which would change that sign or speed and hopefully feed to the cars over the air, and they will know what the speed limit for today is, not posted like that forever.
Right. I mean, I don't think you need to change it every day, but I don't see why we even need traffic lights or stop signs or speed limit signs in the future. It could all be digital. The red light could appear in your car's UI, right?
True.
You don't need to actually maintain all that physical infrastructure.
True. Exactly. Cars would know when to go, when to stop.
You could even sync it up so that they vary their speed and they don't arrive at the intersection until the right time.
Which might be impossible in some cases, but yes, I hear your point. It could be done. They could create even a route based on hitting maximum green lights.
Exactly, yeah. And you could optimize traffic on a more citywide level. You could allocate 50% of traffic onto one freeway, 50% onto the other freeway, that kind of thing.
So what do you think? Release 12 will be at a point where they will, reach complete autonomy on self-driving, or release 13 or 14 or 15? Where are we, like a year away,
I don't
2
know.
years away? Based on the progress they have had in past 2 years. I do feel they slow down on updates, and I know why they slow down, because of the approach that they changed, where they got rid of the code and now they're training it differently.
Yeah.
So, but I think this is their way of collecting more training data right now by releasing this release with significant caution built into it,
Mhm.
but at the same time collecting a lot of video of training the AI in real world videos. So I would say it's going to be significantly better by summer if they do release it do a wider release of this to the beta testers, to every FST user basically.
Yeah, I can tell as they continue to train 12, it's going to be incredible. It'll be smooth, point to point, no intervention of any kind. I can see that potential in it for sure. But yeah, it's, I drove your car with the version 11 yesterday, and in some ways it's better, in some ways it's worse. Like, it didn't have that hesitation, it just goes straight through. 11 is very good, very refined, but obviously has those sort of robotic limitations that 12 doesn't have. And 12 can do things that 11 gets confused by. Overall, though, it's kind of like at a point right now where neither of them is 100% better than the other.
It's trying to change the lane.
Yeah, I don't know why exactly it wants to change the lane.
Because this guy has created a big gap. He's not sure what's going on with this guy. Wow, that's really...
That was a pretty crazy lane change. 11 definitely wouldn't have been able to do that.
11 wouldn't even dare to do it.
Okay, here we go. We could take La Cienega.
So, is it
What?
asking us to take 105?
No.
What is that, 405?
Yeah, that's the 405. This is the 105.
Okay. So, yeah, I think the 11 is if this then that, right?
Right.
12 is go figure it out, based on the videos we gave you.
Exactly.
Yeah, create your own,
Discover the algorithm yourself.
We'll give you everything, link it up, right? And come up with the safest or the most common approach that you found in these videos. So it's the Chat GPT or GPT-4 of the video training, right? It's a completely different model. The problem with this training is that it also is unpredictable in many cases, because you lose that control of writing the code, and your only control is really labeling it and picking the right videos, right?
But with good evaluation infrastructure, you should be able to catch that. Like, if you've got a fleet of 6 million cars, you can send that model out in shadow mode, run it on the B computer, and then detect any differences with the other model, and just ensure that all the differences are positive, and if there's any regressions, continue to curate the training set. I mean, it's a lot more sort of, you have to obviously find all these videos and make sure you really curate the data set properly. You need a lot more compute, but it just, obviously, the results kind of speak for themselves. Everybody, after trying this, nobody doubted that this was the way forward.
It's time consuming, though, for somebody to be picking the videos, going through that. So they need a lot of human resources also for that. I wonder if...
What do you mean picking the videos?
Like, how do they decide which video to train on and which video? I mean, there are some bad drivers, right? That drive really, in a risky manner. Is there a system where they ignore those drivers?
Yeah, every driver has like a Uber rating almost. Like the AI rates how they drive. And then they have ratings for different drives and stuff. So they essentially, much like the safety score, but more advanced than that, they sort of assess your driving. And they find the characteristics that they're looking for. And they tell the people, look for sort of 5-star Uber driver type stuff. Then they can show it the clips that they want to show it of how to drive properly.
So are you saying that I'm better off driving my car myself to send training videos as compared to FSD driving, which doesn't teach it anything new?
Well, FSD driving is useful in providing validation. So when you take over, you give it a little bit of a signal
Right.
that something went wrong or that there was something you would have done differently, right? So whenever you do an intervention, that's potentially a trigger that causes the video to be sent up. And all they have to do is just take that video of you intervening and doing it correctly, and then they can feed that into the training set, and then the model learns from that. And another thing that's that they then do is they have what's called this trigger infrastructure. So think about the trigger infrastructure like running an SQL query on the fleet almost, where you can say, hey, return me footage that you see today that matches these characteristics. So they have all kinds of things that may launch a trigger. Like, for example, an intervention may give a trigger. Or they can say a trigger based on a location. So like, okay, this guy had an intervention at this location. So let's get other perspectives on this location, this intersection, from every different angle here, and get more footage so we can reconstruct this scene really well. Then, for example, if let's say something's flickering. So you're, pedestrian standing at a crosswalk, but their detection is flickering on or off. So that could set off a trigger. So that tells them, okay, the system isn't sure whether this thing is there or it's not there. So then they look at the footage and they see either, okay, there is a person there or there isn't a person there. Then they put that into the training set so that hopefully it flickers less when it encounters similar scenarios. So essentially, they're training the model, finding the issues with the model, putting out triggers to source the training data that they need, continuing to curate the data set, and then try and get the desired result.
But when you are on FSD, you're essentially testing the data set that already has been fed into the training set that they have in place at that moment, and you're helping refine it or train it a little better or correct it for imperfections, as compared to when you have a brand new video of a driver, a good driver with, let's say, 5-star rating driving under different conditions. Then the entire video is an additional piece of data set that goes to them.
Yeah, if there's something, it could never get onto this on 11, you remember that?
I remember
You've noticed that?
Yeah.
So it's really good that 12 can figure out how to get in. It's a construction here on the on-ramp, so it's been very confusing to 11. But 12 is able to get in there, which is great.
I wonder if it can read the signs, like it said shoulder work there, Has it been able to, I thought somebody told me that the 12 can read the signs, but
yeah,
I haven't seen any indication yet.
Actually, I was going on a roundabout at the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach, and there was kind of a turnaround to go the other way, and then there was a sign that said wrong way for like one of the other sort of streets there, and it stopped when it saw that. I don't know if it was because of that or because of something else, but that's what I saw.
Wow, pretty interesting.
All right, so we're kind of in between a couple trucks here. Not really a great place to be.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I think this is where FSD gets to learn. Now this truck is pretty long, so you have to be very careful that it doesn't do a premature lane change.
Right. Okay.
Okay, just perfect timing there. Yeah, when you have a truck bed like that, I worry whether it detected the edge. So even FSD said, I know what, this guy's crazy. What kind of bed does he have for a Ford F-150 or what is this?
GMC.
Yeah. Wow, 2 lane changes, one after the other. just like me.
Yeah.
I would go right.
It's amazing on the 405 at rush hour. It just blows me away
Yeah.
how it's able to get
See,
through
this
all the
guy's got a
traffic.
blinker on, and notice how the car is cautious.
Yeah,
See that?
it's slowing down.
Yeah. It's like, what does this guy's okay? The blinker's off now. It's like, okay, this guy's not changing lanes, so confidence is back up,
Yeah.
speed's back up.
And now getting into the carpool lane.
Even though we're gonna take La Cienega very soon, but that's fine.
It's a couple miles.
Very nice.
But you notice how close it followed the other car?
Yeah.
Like 11 doesn't do that, right?
No way. 11's gotten really good at lane changes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if they've been updating behind the scene or something. Lately, I've been seeing it really impatient per se, but it doesn't want to follow any slow car, quickly changes lanes, tight situations, no hesitation.
Yeah. I mean, here you can really sort of see the future where you just really don't need to do anything.
Highway driving seems to be so far very similar to 11.
Yeah, I think it's actually not the end-to-end stack yet.
Yeah.
I think they've made some improvements to the 11 stack, or maybe there's a couple things like lane changes that are end-to-end maybe. But my understanding from what I've heard is that they're actually going to train a separate model that's an end-to-end model for the highway and a separate model that's end-to-end for the city streets, because the behavior was different enough that
Totally.
the two models were kind of confusing each other a little bit.
Yes.
So they're basically going to have two end-to-end models, one for city, one for highway.
Makes sense.
And then I can imagine one day they might merge it again, the same way they did with the
So see
11.
how it exited the carpool lane because
Yeah.
it knows that we have to make an exit. So
Right.
there's a lot of map data that it is aware of where the lane ends, where the lane allows you to exit
Yeah,
for the carpool lane.
pretty amazing, honestly. How just perfectly it drives on the highway. But this is really probably the 11 stack. You know,
Yes.
so the 12 is super hesitant, the 11 is refined. So, I mean, I have no doubt 12 will way surpass 11 in no
Do you
time.
think there might be a compromise between end to end and on top of that some code further to, have certain situations which could be life threatening where code takes over, and says, and if it tries to do this, then take over. So you think they might actually come back and add some code where they say, well, end to end is not gonna take us to the finish line. So
I don't know. I think the end-to-end seems like it just does the right thing.
correct. Well, that's their intention right now, is hoping that the end to end is the finish line, last sprint. But I'm just saying, I don't mind if we have a hybrid and end to end with code, and with that code gets taken out slowly with time, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they've been doing for the last 4 years, taking it out slowly over
Correct.
time.
But they just took out 30,000 lines of code in one
300,000.
300,000, wow, in one shot. So that's scary.
Well, it's not scary to me. You've been driving it. It
Correct.
drives very well.
Correct. No, I understand that. So all I'm saying is that,
It drives better than
Yeah.
the old one.
yeah,
If we were on 11, we would have had at least one takeover to get onto the highway.
so far, yes.
And, I
So-
just noticed it doesn't, make sudden movements that are scary.
Very smooth, yeah.
It doesn't, the old one would suddenly, go
Yeah.
left or right or something. That's kind of what you'd be
Yeah.
afraid of.
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone.
It doesn't do robotic things like that. It's much more human-like and
Much
subtle.
more, like you're right. Way smoother. It's actually. Did it go wrong direction?
No.
We're fine. Okay. So so help me understand.
That was actually beautiful how it got to this La Cienega Boulevard exit.
Uh-huh.
Notice how it kind of took the shortcut. It went onto Century Boulevard because it knew there was this other path here with less traffic. And then now it's made it over to the La Cienega exit. It's like, even someone who lives here probably couldn't have done it that well.
True. So I was saying, um, help me understand how they fix bugs now. Like they would detect something went wrong, right? Somewhere it didn't work properly.
Right.
Since they're not really writing any code,
You just
what are
put
they
in videos of it doing it correctly. So thing does it wrong.
then how do they test it? How do they test that it actually, those new videos um, made it fix the bug? How do you test them? Do they actually
Well,
have
you
to
could
go on
put
the
this,
road, or do they have a
you
simulator?
can put the same video in again and see what it spits out. Right?
So they do have simulators where
Of course.
okay.
They have simulators, they have unit tests. So they have certain examples that they are characteristic examples, right?
Uh-huh.
So they just run unit tests on them. So any new build, it goes through all the unit tests. And they can then see, oh, okay, stop sign, oh, foggy day, it failed the foggy day, rainy day unit test, whatever.
Oh, okay.
And then they can, continue to curate it.
Correct. Do you know how many unit tests they might have?
Probably
share that?
I mean, probably thousands at least.
Yeah.
If not, hundreds of thousands. I don't know.
So now we are on La Cienega Boulevard, which is usually pretty crowded street all the time, close traffic, and crazy roads, some wide intersections, and all of that stuff. Weird traffic lights, multiple streets hitting at the same traffic light. Sometimes the stars intersections. So you can see all kinds of challenges that a human driver faces on the street, leave alone FSD. So far it's driving exactly like a human being, or even better, because I would probably get distracted, and not be dead center in the lane like it is. Okay, decided to do a lane change because the guy in gray Tesla was, as per FSD, driving slow. I was like, what are you doing? I'm going to get in the fast lane.
Mm-hmm.
So it knows that the speed limit is 55, so
yeah, it's a crazy thing to have your car overtake for you. You're used to doing it yourself. This guy's too slow, but
yeah.
The car just thinks of it itself before you even get annoyed.
And that car could be.
And did you see how it slowed for that guy changing lanes in? Before I even saw that he was trying to get in, the car saw and had already slowed down.
While we were talking.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get distracted by our conversation.
Exactly.
And the car it overtook earlier was a Tesla. For all we know, it could be on FSD.
Probably is, otherwise it would be driving faster.
Yeah. So the auto speed mode doesn't seem to care much about traffic speed limits.
No, I think it does care about the speed limit, obviously.
This area is also good Waldron Hills.
I don't think so.
Steve lives there.
No, I don't think anything. Well, I think it's okay. But ideally, north of the 10 is better.
Ideally, yeah. I personally liked it a lot because I went to Steve's house. Did you go there?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Oh, yeah, you should go. So is it true when I'm driving, they're actually running the FSD in the shadow mode at the same time,
Yeah.
and then they're sending data up when I drive differently than the FSD would have.
Yeah. Well, if any number of triggers are matched, then footage might be sent up. They can ask for anything they're looking for. Like, for example, they can say, send me stop except on right turn. So if there's a sign that says stop except right turn,
Mm-hmm.
which means everyone has to stop except people making a right turn,
Correct.
then, that kind of thing.
Interesting. I don't know why I decided to do a lane change.
I'm
But-
kind of glad it did, because there's been some potholes on this street, on
Okay.
this lane that I've noticed. So
Okay.
I don't know why, but
Does 12 slow down on potholes?
I don't know. I haven't really seen it do anything to avoid a pothole or anything like that.
Well, even humans can avoid it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it looks like maybe it's getting ready to go right.
1.3 miles. Yeah. So I was thinking about if we were to give this FSD an age, would you say it's driving like a teenager or is it driving like a grandma?
I mean, probably more like a grandma. You can't really give it an age, though, because it's a computer. So people make those kinds of comparisons, but it has more experience than a 16-year-old driver, but also lacks the common sense of a 5-year-old.
At some point in time, it's going to supersede in all aspects for human drivers, right?
Yeah,
In
I
all
think so.
including common
I'm
sense.
already starting to see it supersede human abilities in some ways.
One of the things that I noticed is on mine is just like earlier, it saw the car wanting to get into our lane and it slowed down for it. It reacts to those things way faster and quicker than I would have.
Mhm.
So there's a delay
Right.
in my processing between my seeing things versus my brain saying, oh, slow down or hit the brake. So the reaction time for FSD is way better
Right.
already.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel a lot more comfortable when I'm driving even at high speed,
Yeah.
that it reacts much faster than I do.
Mhm.
And which means that if something's going to come in the way, it's going to try to be better at avoiding it
Yeah.
than I would.
Or if you're looking away for a second and someone starts braking, it just
Correct.
instantly reacts.
Yeah. You're less likely to do a rear, fender bender kind of hit.
Mhm. Or even, when you don't crash, but you see it maybe a second later, so you have to brake harder, it's more uncomfortable.
True.
Another thing it seems to do better is getting close to cars. The old FSD would sometimes keep an unnatural gap in traffic like this.
Yeah.
This seems to position itself naturally in bumper-to-bumper traffic, which is
FSD
essential
11
here.
did something interesting the other day. It stopped at a traffic light and it had a wider gap.
Mhm.
It waited about 2-3 seconds, then it realized the gap is too big. Then it slowly slided in and got really close. And I mean, this close. And that was really nice. Why'd you send the video?
Well, it looked like the traffic light was green in my visualization. So
Maybe it's seeing the future.
yeah,
Now it's green.
seemed like it could potentially be an issue, so I wanted to send them that.
Wow. Did you notice a rough road? How it slows down?
Yeah, it slows down going over plates and stuff like that now, which is nice.
You think it's the wrong lane, right?
No,
it
it's
is in the right
going
lane,
it's
yeah.
going where it needs to go. Yeah.
Correct. That's what I was telling you. The La Cienega is a little tricky. So it
See,
has to go Fairfax here.
it
And
actually
Fairfax
understands where we're going better than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's keeping right for Fairfax.
Very nice.
And next, it's going to make a left turn onto Pico in 1.5 miles.
Yeah. But it's not in a hurry to make the lane change yet. It's like, okay, fine, I got 1.4 miles to go. I can stay in the far right lane and let the guys who want to drive faster go into the passing lane.
Man, I can only imagine. Oh, look at
Oh,
this.
wow.
It almost went over there in
Yeah.
case we were kind of stuck in the middle of the intersection. That's a very sophisticated human maneuver.
Yeah. It's still trying to change the lane.
It's kind of flirting with the idea of changing lanes.
Yeah. There you go. Flirting
But
over.
I think because it saw that this lane actually is pretty open,
Yeah.
but it's these guys trying to turn right who are just kind of blocking the way.
Yeah.
So it could have actually just stayed there and would have come out ahead, but it does need to make a left in a mile, so this isn't a bad lane to be driving in. Middle of LA, all this traffic, handling it fine. Still able to make lane changes. I mean, I remember when FSD beta in traffic like this, you couldn't count on it to make a lane change at all. You just get stuck. Okay, we got a green light. Crawling along here.
2 lights, one after the other. Perfect. Just like I would.
Yeah, for, LA traffic like this, bumper to bumper, slow moving, it's definitely a game changer to not have to do it yourself. This is the most boring kind of driving.
One interesting thing I've observed on this release is that even when you don't have clear lane markings or no lane markings at all, it drives still just like a human being would drive. It figures out where to position the car. So it's gotten smarter on that end.
Well, 11 could drive without lane markings too.
It could, but sometimes it would, like, when we go from our home, we have no lane markings. The car tended to stay more towards the center of the road.
Right.
But this morning when we left, it was staying to the far right, just like as if there was an imaginary center line.
It does do much better at that, yeah. All right, continuing to crawl along here, 3/4 of a mile away from Pico. Looks like we got the lanes merging in.
Yeah.
Handled that nicely.
There's a truck or a pickup truck parked on the street. Kind of tight
Hmm.
space there. No problem.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue for it.
Did it detect the dog?
Yeah, it detected the person.
Person, okay. Okay, we're coming up to a right turn.
Left turn.
Sorry, left turn, yeah.
Alright. Going really slow because it saw the guy with the blinker.
Yeah.
Was thinking he might jump out. But, you know, the first build would kind of assert itself more. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It was maybe a little bit too aggressive at times, but it was really nice. Like, you know, it just wouldn't let that guy go. It would just be like, okay, whatever. And it wouldn't even like slow down that much. Maybe like 1 or 2 miles an hour, but it was pretty nice.
Oh, it's waiting for this
Oh,
one.
it actually let her go.
Oh, wow.
See, she waved and thanked. She didn't know she's thinking in AI.
That was amazing. That's what
All right,
end-to-end
here's
does.
the left turn lane. So it's actually a green arrow, but we're gonna miss it because we're kind of far back.
Yeah.
So I probably, as a human, would have jumped and illegally driven in this double yellow and gotten into the left turn lane. And most humans would probably do that too, but it didn't do that. I guess following the law is good, but
Yes, following the law is good. There's no but on it.
you want to drive like a human. Oops, I almost disengaged accidentally. All right, now we're in the left turn lane.
Does it not use the ultrasonic sensors on my car?
No. This car doesn't even have ultrasonic sensors.
So the ones that have ultrasonic sensors, it doesn't use them.
It uses them when you're parking, but not
Only.
for FSD.
Okay, not for FSD. That's right.
The range is pretty low. It's really kind of what's in the immediate vicinity of your car.
Yeah, which would be fine when you're trying to park in a spot and things like that.
Yeah. But the new 3D Park Assist is pretty great, so I don't miss the ultrasonic sensors at all, honestly.
If we would have gone straight, it would have been only 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We should have punched that.
All right, we got a green arrow. Yeah, I do like how it shows you all the possible route options and you can change it in real time while you're in the middle of your drive now.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty nice. All right, next we're going to make a right turn onto Crescent Heights Boulevard. We're changing lanes over to the right to prepare for that. Going a little bit too slow here. It's at 35 and we're going 20. Oh, that was nice. I didn't even think that guy was going to walk, but it was already thinking ahead before me.
Correct.
It could see some subtle cues in his body, maybe the way his head was turning, the way his feet were moving, that suggested he wants to cross the street.
And the way he was oblivious to the fact that he is on a busy street.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to care.
Right.
He didn't even look towards us whether we were going to stop or not.
Yeah.
Thank God for FSD. Human driver would have just ran over him.
All right, now we're going to make a right turn. Very smooth.
Yeah.
And half a mile, it's going to keep left onto McCarthy. Looks to be a truck sticking out here, like a moving truck or something, so we're going to have to offset a little bit, drive on the yellow line a bit. But no problem for 12. I mean, it does it so smoothly you don't even think about it.
How about these homes?
Yeah, they look great.
They're like condos. There's something wrong with your charging. It heats up my phone. Mine doesn't.
Really?
Yeah. You haven't noticed it?
I mean, I think it happens in your car too.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I never send my phone.
Every
to-
charging pad in a Tesla has done that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe you just don't, use it when you're driving or something. I don't know. I hear we've got a guy with his door open. He's getting something out of his car, and there's traffic passing by on the street.
This house is listed 1.78.
Yeah, let's check it out. All right, moving by the guy with the door nicely. And the street here curves to the right.
Beautiful.
Piece of cake.
Those two houses all listed. Okay.
I like how it starts going before he's completed the turn,
Uh-huh.
100%. So it kind of asserts itself before someone else goes. 11, we're gonna wait for them to completely get over into the other side.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That was crazy.
Wow.
It avoided
like
getting
a-
stuck in the intersection by doing that.
Yeah.
Going around those people turning
Yeah,
left.
That's a keeper. That video
Yeah.
was amazing.
Wow.
And then back to this lane
Because
there
it's
was
parked
car
cars,
parked.
yeah.
How cool.
Yeah, this end-to-end approach is extremely powerful, clearly.
And it knows it's safe to do the lane change. It did it,
Mhm.
without any hesitation. It was pretty tight.
Yeah.
I would have hesitated.
I know. Yeah. And then now back to this lane because it knows it has to make a right turn.
Mm-hmm.
It just does the lane changes so casually. You don't even notice, like, in the early days of FSD beta, every lane change was a stressful event. Because you didn't know if it would make it, if it'd be able to get over, you'd be like frustrated, nobody would be letting you go. Now it's just like piece of cake.
He was a stunt.
Yeah. Alright, we got the light green. 2 miles until Fountain, driving 25 in a 35, which is very inappropriate in Los Angeles. I think maybe it was looking at this trash can or something up ahead.
I was just trying to be cautious. I don't think that is inappropriate. I mean, sometimes humans slow down too,
It is.
based on the road conditions.
You can't drive 25 in a 35 in LA. People get upset. You got to be driving at least 40 in a 35. If there's nothing ahead of you, there's no excuse.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I mean, if you're in the back seat, you probably wouldn't care. But the cars around you will get annoyed if, again, see, look, it's going 26, 27. It's just ramping up very slowly to 35. Here's somebody getting out of their car, maybe a valet or something.
Okay.
Here's another guy getting out of his car. Looks like a tractor and some construction over here.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh,
That guy.
I know, that guy ruined it for
Otherwise,
us.
we were gonna go through.
I know. But it was good that it stopped and saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
You were about to take over.
No, I wasn't about to take over. I was ready to, obviously, but, it seemed like it could have snuck through and made the light. But then, that guy had to do the same thing we were trying to do.
Yeah. Does it slow down on these dips?
I think so, yeah. We'll see. But, yeah, it's good. We saw it go around we had the same situation where someone's trying to turn left and they're blocking the lane. The first time it was able to do it.
Wow, watch these cars going. It's waiting for them to finish the turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at that.
Oh my god, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Finally.
I know. Finally. That was always like, ugh. It was something you had to take over for.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I got some bruises in the car because of that.
Okay, here's a jogger running in our lane.
Now that's interesting.
Okay, and there's a really fast truck coming.
Oh, watch it. Okay. Oh my god.
Wow.
It figured out and just did the lane change, stayed away from the jogger.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, sometimes it does certain things that actually are overconfidence, and you forget what grandma mode are you talking about. This is like a stunt driver mode.
No, it wasn't an overconfidence. There was no other option. The guy on the left was coming so fast. It would have changed lanes earlier if it could have.
No, but I think what I observed, but we can watch the video later on, it actually increased the speed a little bit because it wanted to do a lane change. That looked like unreal because the guy was coming towards us and we're increasing the speed instead of slowing down and trying to, create a gap. So it was just that.
Well, I think it was offset. It knew it could offset. But if it didn't do that,
wow,
then...
you see that? It tried to go in this lane, then saw all these cars parked. So, that's not a good lane to be in.
Yeah.
Let's get out of there.
If it didn't do that, then it risked getting stuck in the path of the pedestrian, because if another car didn't let us in, then, it would have been an awkward situation coming head-to-head with the pedestrian. But changing lanes, then it could offset and give him room. I went really slowly through that intersection for some reason. Maybe looking at that person waiting to cross in the crosswalk. Still going really slow. I don't know why it's going so slow right now. Like again, 25 into 35. It's completely inappropriate for LA.
To be honest with you, I feel very safe. I don't care what the speed limit is.
I know,
like
but
driving.
you don't drive 10 miles per hour below the speed limit. That's really the minimum speed, is the speed limit.
But everybody else is driving slow.
No, they're not. They're all ahead of us. They're all driving the correct speed.
Not significantly ahead of us. They were like 1 or 2 miles faster than us. See, right now, it's just following the guy.
Well, because we're behind a truck.
Okay, now it's going to speed up because there's nobody ahead of you.
$24, $25. See, now slowing down for no reason.
The guy with the dog.
Well, he's walking the, perpendicular to us. Or not perpendicular, he's walking parallel to us.
Okay.
Well, looks like we're going to probably make it with zero takeovers. I don't want to jinx it, but
Yeah.
there was, I think, 1 or 2 accelerator presses or something?
Yeah.
Maybe 1, yeah, 2, I think.
So we helped the data set get it a little improved, But in most cases, we were just impressed. I mean, it did everything really, really well. Really,
Yeah.
really well.
Clearly, the end-to-end model has incredible power and capability.
Yes.
And just the end-to-end approach, I think, is, we're just sort of scratching the surface here. I can only imagine at the end of the year what this is going to look like.
This truck cutting.
Okay, a huge truck coming out exactly where we need to make a left turn. We got cars, we got a guy crossing now.
Perfect. Oh, these people are already here. Slow down. We're here. That's the house. Okay. It doesn't need to park. We'll park ourselves.
All right, great. So 70 minutes of driving through LA, zero takeovers, a couple accelerator presses. Thanks for watching.